You know, if you love to walleye fish and you like to fish where there isn't a lot of commotion and a lot of boats running around, you have to come here to Northern Ontario. We're fishing Lady Evelyn Lake and we're staying at Red Pine Wilderness Lodge.
Canadian Sport Fishing, brought to you in part by Rapala, premium fishing gear crafted from experience. Yamaha Outboards, reliability starts here. Sail, the outdoors superstore. Lucky Strike, all you need is a Lucky Strike.
Guess what? I'm getting the net.
Okay, I'm not too sure how hooked he is, that's all.
You sound a little nervous, which I think is great.
I'm a little bit.
Just keep the pressure. You got this big stick.
Oh.
You know what? That's the biggest one so far. So one thing that we're doing, because we're using such a light presentation, isn't he gorgeous, Barb?
He's beautiful, dark.
We're using ultralight rods. This is an Avantis. It's a very short rod. Can you read the line rating that's on there, Barb? What's it rated for? Because it's rated for light line. It's probably 4 to 8 pound test. And we've got a little ultralight reel, which is perfect. And look, Barb, look at the way you have them hooked. Just in the roof of the mouth. And you know what? You got it into that tissue. You don't have to drive the hook right in. And the line just wrapped around my finger. There we go. Now, even though I've got my hand under here, it's not really in the gills. It's on the gill plate. And I mention this to people a lot of times because this is actually quite a common way to hold up a walleye, even if you're going to be releasing it. Should we take a measurement, Barb?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, just watch yourself. I'm just going to turn the boat a little bit.
Okay.
You got him in about 30 feet of water, honey. So he was pretty deep. So guess what? He's 21 inches.
Wow.
So that's a good size. And I'm going to suspend him in the water even though I could use the net. Look at the nice dark colors. Man, is he camouflaged. I'm just going to hold him here for 1 sec. Look at that. Just a prime specimen of a walleye. Classic Northern Ontario wilderness walleye. He's going to swim off. There he goes. You know, doing flying trips for the last 25 years and also drive-in wilderness trips, I find that a lot of fishermen bring too much stuff. And fishermen are notorious for having tackle boxes and tackle boxes of gear, yet they only have confidence in a handful of lures and they use those all the time. So I don't know what the thinking is about having all these lures that you never really use. So anyway, on this trip, all I've packed to do a couple of different types of fishing is a small bag like this, which is relatively small and compact. And in there are only the things that I know that will produce fish here at Red Pine Wilderness Lodge on Lady Evelyn Lake and one of the back lakes that we're going to be going into. For the walleye, primarily you're using jig heads and worms. So here's all the jig heads that I brought. So it's not a fancy box, but you know what? They're very compact and I've got them in Ziploc bags so that if I'm in a hurry and I throw one in here, I don't have to worry about opening the boxes and putting them in the individual spots. The most popular size are 1/8 ounce, and that's what I've got here in this heavier Ziploc. Okay, so even this many jig heads are probably enough for 3 or 4 or 5 days fishing. And you're going to lose some of the jig heads even though you're in a boat, because wherever the bottom is, I call it sticky, that's where some of the best walleye hang out to feed, okay? So you can see the colors are very simple. They're anywhere from white to pink to chartreuse, which is probably the top color, and there's even some glow in the darks. So probably just a straight round jig head is the best way to go. In case it got windy, and that can happen, for example, tomorrow, Ryan, our guide, informed us that they're calling for like 30-kilometer-an-hour winds. We may have to go to a 1/4 ounce or even heavier jig head. So I've got 1/4 ounce and also 3/8 ounce. And some of the jigs that I brought, I can also put on a stinger hook if the fish hit a little bit lighter. So I'm just going to take out that bag to show you what they look like. The ones that are designed for a stinger hook have an extra eye on the bottom of the jig head. I'll take a chartreuse one so you can see. So you see this jig hook right here? This is where you would tie your line on top of the jig, and then this other eye that's below is designed to put on a snap-on stinger hook that would probably go back about 3 or 4 inches. So if the fish were hitting light and you were using a half worm or even a full worm, you'd have a better chance of getting those fish that are short strikers.
NavaGlue, the ultimate boat shelter system, sport fishing sweepstakes.
We were down at about 130 feet, and then all of a sudden this rod just rips off and this line starts peeling off. And I pick it up and the rod's just going and going and I can't stop it. Fish is just like reeling up a log. It's a big fish, it's hard to crank. And then we got it in the net and it barely fit in the net. It was a pretty big fish.
We'd love to hear your fishing story. Go to our website and enter the NavaGlue Sport Fishing Sweepstakes. You could win some great prizes.